Down and get started. We are going to talk about crystals today, but I'm not giving prices. I'm going over what it is that we have here available and why it is that I recently selected to bring them into the shop and how they might benefit for you. And we are also going to talk about, hold on, I'm going to bring up, I actually have an agenda here. So I'm fancy now with my laptop. So let me, it's okay, Cheddar. Let me get back to the beginning. How's everybody doing? We are in the shadow now of the summer solstice, and we have a whole bunch of interesting astrology coming up. I've done some writing on that. On the writing, you can usually go in and listen. I've intentionally not been putting a lot of videos in those things so people could listen to those things in the car. And so those substacks are not necessarily things that you have to have time to sit down and read. I know that time is of the essence right now. So just a reminder that you can read any of those things that I write. We're going to talk a little bit about all of that stuff going on. So thanks for joining me today. Most of you will be watching this later. If you're watching this 6 months down the road, it found you for a reason today. So just allow yourself to sit with why the questions that are coming up for today are coming up for you, not necessarily in the actual solstice energy. We are gathering in the afternoon noon here, about one full day from the peak. It was at 8:24 a.m. Yesterday was the peak of that solstice energy here where we live in Minnesota. So yesterday, what that means is the sun reached its highest point in the sky, and it also gave us our longest day of the year. So what the meaning of that day is and why I took the opportunity to do the things I did yesterday was it means that the light has reached its peak. And yesterday it happened to fall on Father's Day. It does not always fall on Father's Day, but yesterday it happened too. And so there was this unique sort of energy around the sun energy, which is also masculine energy, by many, many understandings, many traditions see that energy as masculine. So, and I was sitting next to my father on the Mississippi River uploading my first book, and it was powerful for me. And I ended up uploading that thing at 4:11, and 4:11 is actually his birthday. He's an Aries, so sitting right next to him on the couch on his place on the Mississippi. I mean, powerful things are happening right now if we just like allow ourselves to understand that power comes in many different ways, shapes, and forms, and that spiritual evidence, those spiritual synchronicities that are happening all around us, that's a form of us understanding our higher selves are really coming in to have a full seat at the table right now, and what it means to allow that in your own life. So today the cycle shifts, and it's not because the light completely disappears, and certainly it isn't because anything is ending, but it's because nature reminds us that every expansion eventually becomes a contraction. Somebody's sending me a bunch of random stuff. Every inhale becomes an exhale, and every season contains the seed of the next season. From this day forward, the days will slowly begin to shorten as we move towards the winter solstice. And as we're sitting with that for a minute, where were you 6 months ago? What was happening in your life during the winter solstice? What were you dreaming about? What did you think was going to happen for you? Have things changed a lot for you? Are you in a big season of change, or are you in a season of exhale? Everybody's going to be a little different. You have your own blueprint. I have my blueprint. I'm an Aquarian with a whole bunch of other things, right? You are what you are. What do you have? What's showing up for you? How much of what you thought might happen actually ended up unfolding for you? And is it better or is it worse in your eyes? Is it more challenging? Is it less challenging? Were the challenging things being big catalysts and change like they were in my life? Okay. If I was to look back at that winter solstice, we actually had an event here. Some of you were at it, and we made the fairy rings, the gratitude rings with the orange slices. I can't even remember everything I covered then. It was so long ago, but that's what I was doing on the winter solstice. I was holding retreat for a group of people, and that's the last time Rachel and I taught together. And Rachel and I usually teach more often. I mean, we were teaching every other week for a couple of years together. So that's a big season that shifted what Rachel has going on and what I have going on. It's not disconnected, but we're both working very hard on building our what it is that we're each building. And eventually all of those things end up meeting in the middle, just like I said earlier. I would not have guessed that I would be writing books. I did not have a manuscript other than My Mama's a Peacock, and I had no real plans at that point. I started maybe to think that I was going to put out Peacock on Substack, and I didn't even have a Substack. So it wasn't like I was saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. I definitely was not. So Um, I wouldn't have anticipated necessarily the losses that I've had, both from a business standpoint. I mean, it's brutal. And I've said that many times. I don't know how else to say it. It's brutal from a business standpoint. And like I am always questioning, like, is everybody feeling this? I don't know what everybody's feeling, but it's absolutely brutal from the amount of people that I wouldn't have guessed some of the people that have walked out in this season. I wouldn't have anticipated that. I wouldn't have, because I don't necessarily think anything happened there. I think that life started lifing, especially in January, February, and March, and it really started to weigh on people. And I was intensely writing at that point. And I even think that some of what I was writing was weighing on people. And I was like, this is your root chakra, your sacral chakra, and your solar plexus chakra. Like, we don't turn away from these things, we address them here. So, in my eyes, I was doing the things that I needed to do. But that was that whole season of winter. Here we had Operation Metro Surge. That book I am getting ready to upload today or tomorrow. That is ready to go. And, this whole question about whether or not racism is something that we're going to carry forward, whether or not we believe in equal treatment of people, just basic stuff. The rape one, it obviously is how are we going to continue to treat the feminine? Are we actually going to let the feminine have a seat at the table, or are we going to continue to wound that feminine nature? And what is actually happening here to make that happen? And so there would have been absolutely no idea in my head that any of that was coming. I knew big change was coming. I certainly was writing already. I was already, you know, calling things out on the table. But um, think about that for yourselves. That's my journey with my Aquarian and my transits, which are crazy right now because I'm also a Gemini moon. Yeah. I mean, I have some really, like, my chart right now is at one of its most, what I would call volatile. That's not necessarily negative, but it could be based on how I respond to it, because volatility is going to be in its nature right now. And there's not anything that I'm going to be able to do about that, save how I respond to the things that are volatile around me. Meaning, I don't choose when somebody chooses to leave, and I don't necessarily choose when somebody chooses to walk in. All I can do is have an open invite and talk to people about what I have going on here. And that's what I can do, you know? So that's what I continue to do. So think about that for yourself. Life can change dramatically in 6 months. So today I want us to sit with that as we look at these crystals that I just unboxed. And again, I'm not going to talk about these crystals from a sales standpoint. The ones that I'm showing you, they're available, and you know how to reach out to me if you want any of them, and you know how to schedule through magicmushroomsinthecrystalgarden.com if you want to come in and feel the energies for yourself, or schedule a Zoom call to take a look at all the things that I have in the shop and the different crystal allies that I have brought in for practitioners of that to work with, right? So, uh, and that doesn't mean that you need a certification to be a practitioner to work with crystal energy and your energy in your life. So as we unbox them, which I've sort of already done to make it easier, I want them to be conversation starters. They're not just stones, but it's about life. It's about growth. It's about healing. It's about what are we willing to build with this community? What do we want to build in this community? It's about the places that we've been and the places that we're going. So crystals have really, for several years now, not been just crystals for me. And it was not always like that. But there was a shift that happened in me. And after that shift, they've really never left my life. And after that sort of initial training that I got to become a crystal energy healer and now a crystal energy master, um, by the time I took that master training, that had been sitting there for years and she was closing that business. So I took it. I didn't need that certification anymore because I was already aware of what crystals meant to me and my own practice and why it worked for me and how I was teaching and had been teaching all along. And so that is what we are going to dive into today. Crystals, when I select them, they are really, for the most part, individuals or have a very targeted meaning for me to bring them in. Some of the things that you see today are things that are also being used by my student group in the Crystal and DNA or the Lightning program that still has 4 spots available. And the right people at the right time. That is where we build the community together. We will be opening this to helping them become the healers they're stepping into eventually as they go through their certifications. They will be an integral part of starting the Pen Pals organization that we are going to kick off from here, which will be the community space of togetherness, right? So, like, crystals for me are every single stone has its own story. And that's why it's important that, like, I love doing lives because I think they show the individuals better than any other place that I can show them. When you walk into a crystal shop, sometimes it's overwhelming energy. So, one of the best ways for you to seek and learn and understand is by, I think, it's not everybody's lives, but I don't really see other people do these kinds of lives, but by looking at the crystals as an individual instead of looking at them as oh, this is green aventurine or this is black tourmaline, which there certainly are times where we might be doing grid work and we're looking for certain energies, but other things are doing specific work as we place them on our altars or work with them in our daily lives. And so that's what I want this to be about. It's more about the geography, the history, and the lesson that each stone carries with it. Let's see here. They might even help us root out questions. Some of the stones here today are shadow work stones. So sometimes they remind us of something we already know, and sometimes they help us see something that we've actually been avoiding. So today we'll explore what these stones have to teach us and what they might be reflecting back to us in this moment of our lives. So let me start off by flipping this around for a second. And we're actually going to start with this. This is peridot and diop. Let me find out exactly. I always get them mixed up. Diopside and spinel. Peridot, diopside, and spinel. And it's on a basalt rock. So I have, I think, 24 of these beauties available. And we'll talk a little bit about the contrast. That first one I picked up was fairly big. Some of them are a little bit smaller. They have the peridot all around here. This is like green life emerging from black volcanic stone. It's heart energy emerging from ancient fire. Peridot always feels like heart healing to me. Cheddar agrees. Yep, he's still here. Yeah, it's the kind that says, and it's on volcanic rock, right? So this is the kind that says something difficult happened, something painful happened, and yet life continues to grow. Because basalt is ancient volcanic stone. It's porous and strong. This one's cool. Looks like a being in the center there. It's forged through tremendous pressure and transformation. And together, these pieces remind me that healing grows through experience. Healing grows through, we grow through what we go through, right? That's the saying. That's this rock here. We grow through what we go through. Healing grows through the very things that tried to break us. So, the questions that I will leave you with today, and if you're interested in these, you know where to find me, is what is your heart healing from? What has grown from a difficult season in your life? And what would happen if you trusted the healing that is already underway? All right. The next thing I'm going to move to, and I did have some of these, but I think I got them like right before I went to Florida. And then I don't think I ever did a real good job of letting everybody know I got these in. And these are apps actually up on the website. And so I just ordered some more because eventually here more people are going to be going back to that website soon. And I wanted to be prepared because these are one of my favorite things in new in the shop right now. And they are the nicest black tourmaline palms I've had. I love the shape. I love the feeling. I want everybody to put 2 in each of their pockets to equalize them. You know what I mean? Like, this is a great balancer. And these are $8 to $10 a piece. And I have many of these. I am actually not someone who generally gets super excited about black tourmaline. It's not, I mean, I have it everywhere in my house because obviously it has some benefits from an EMF standpoint and just from a, I call it the negativity sucker, but it's not one that I like wear very often. I don't, yeah, as I say, I have it on right now. It's kind of funny, but I don't necessarily wear tourmaline all the time. Black tourmaline is very grounding energy, and I've got a lot of air and fire, so it's kind of an opposite energy for me. Um, but these are so different, and the energy to me right away felt so different about these, just like a beautiful energy. Like they're smooth, right? Like it's black tourmaline that you can hold on to. It's grounded and steady and supportive. And grounding, to remind you, is really about being present, you know, helping you get into the present. It's the ability to stay connected to yourself, even when the world feels chaotic. I said how much these are. I said I wasn't going to do that, but they're super reasonable in price. Couldn't help myself. So I've got plenty of these available. And these are good to have around your house and in your pockets and in your car and everywhere you can think of in the multitude. So anyway, that is the black tourmaline. The questions that black tourmaline asks: what helps you stay grounded? Are you able to get grounded? What are you carrying that doesn't belong to you? And where are you giving your energy away unnecessarily? All right, the next thing I'm going into, and these are only going to be available if I don't sell out of these to the retreatants, because some things, as those of you who go to retreats with me know, I usually have a few things that I either source or I go, all right, we need to bring these things and we'll see which ones. Well, this is one of those things, and I'm keeping 3 of the 6. I have never seen this exact formation of this quartz before, and we are going to Arkansas to mine quartz, and this quartz is called Hedenbergite quartz. Hedenbergite quartz. And I hope these show up here. I'm not sure they're going to. I really was hoping that the clouds were not on the sun. The sun was really sunning originally. So these are not, they're kind of hard to see. These have a multiple record keepers and spirit candles in them. Can you see that? And then they also have, each of them have a different, meaning. Like this one is a mother and child. This one in particular has a mother and child formation, or a sort of a mentor situation. So let me tell you, quartz amplifies, it illuminates, and it brings awareness. And Hedenbergite reminds me of embodiment because it's literally floating. It's the gray that's floating inside this quartz. It's about integration. It's about taking what you know and actually living it. And each one of those little record keepers in this, that's a representation of what you are made of. So I don't anticipate any of these actually being available. Um, but on the off chance that there is one, and I'm not sure I'm going to get any more of this, at least not exactly like this. I'm not even sure what locality this came from, but I could find out if somebody wanted to know. These are about taking what we actually know and living it, not collecting wisdom, but living wisdom, not collecting insight, but integrating insight. Everyone, I teach embodiment, and embodiment means embodiment of your full self, right? The questions for this quartz is, what lesson keeps showing up in your life? No wonder I kept 3 of them. Unworthiness, 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 right? Is one of mine. 29-degree Virgo rising. What truth do you already know? Oh my God, this one, you guys. This one I didn't really want to get rid of either, but I'm like, God, I have to have at least 3 for my retreatants to be able to pick from. What truth do you already know but haven't fully embodied? And where is life asking you to move from understanding into action? That is, I can't even remember how to say it, Hedenbergite quartz, right? Hedenbergite. Hedenbergite. It's some kind of an iron mineral that makes that gray phantom inside the quartz. And they are phenomenal. They are just phenomenal. So, all right, the next thing, I am going to skip this one. We're going to do that one last because I'm just going to stay sitting down here. We'll go back to the angelite at the end. Oh, the next thing, it literally just says Kristin's teaching. The next thing I'm going to show is labradorite. And these I actually thought would be more of the small ones. I do have smaller, some of these in the shop that are only like $5 or $6. But when I ordered this time, she sent me ones that are a little bit larger. And oh my God, there's like a unicorn in that one. Look at that. Look at that fire horse. So these will probably be going with me to Arkansas too, unless somebody reaches out and says, I want number 1. So labradorite is a stone that is connected to the northern lights in indigenous tradition. It usually comes from places like Canada or Madagascar. These are probably Madagascar, judging by their color. They are, this one is very purple. It's not necessarily going to show up in the sunlight, but it is. There you see a little bit of the flash going. These actually work less well, usually, in sunlight, believe it or not. Most things warm up better. These do not. I am going to have to stand here. I got to stand in this one. So labradorite is a stone for those of you who are working on your intuition. You want that rainbow light body flash to start to come online. They have tourmaline in them for protection. So they are a third eye stone that helps you to start working with awakening that third eye safely. Huge bird. It was an eagle. Huge eagle, just huge shadow was an eagle. So see that flash, you guys? Like that is crazy. All right. So this is a large piece. Again, I was not expecting such a huge piece, and I'm very blessed and grateful for this one. It's very, very purple on the back there. It's hard to get that to show out right now. But labradorite is one of my favorites right now for just working with that inner intuition. A couple other things that are not on this, these are not on, these are new bracelets that just came in. They have the evil eye and the howlite. Now, I don't know about you, but I can absolutely tell you I have been moving a ton more anger. I think it's normally because I'll suppress a lot of anger and I'm not suppressing my emotion anymore. So my body actually isn't feeling it, but I am actually moving a ton of what I just call planetary anger through me, because I know that I'm not that angry, but some days I'm just moving a lot of anger, especially when I'm writing some of the things that I'm writing. It's not me that's producing those things, right? It's not you that's producing those things. It's a group of people who are harming people that just get me to the point where I need to move a lot of anger. Howlight helps absorb some of that for you so that you don't have to move as much of it, or even blocks you from being able to feel some of that. That's what it's a very cooling stone. That's what it's all about. So next, this is another one where I don't really want to get rid of any of these, but I am going to put them out and allow them to hang out, and they'll probably also come with me. If you want one of these, you'll need to let me know because there's only 3 pieces available. This is Turkish amethyst, Turkish spirit amethyst. All right. So, Turkey is one of the themes that I have been teaching about all year. Gobekli Tepe. So, stones hold memory. And so this Turkish amethyst, which is older than Gobekli Tepe, is going to carry the frequency of that ancient sort of seat for our current state of humanity. That's how I teach the Turkey civilization. So these are the ones that I have available. You see that sparkle? This one has a little bit of the almost red amethyst. Yeah, amazing. The energy on these too, you guys, of all of the things that I unpacked today, these were the ones that I went, this is immediately a calming stone for anyone who needs to find some peace. They literally are so peaceful. And I think it's because they do come from the origin story, you know? Like, we are human, you know? And so when you touch something that has your seed right inside of it, there might be just a automatic inner knowing. And amethyst works with your entire chakra system from an energy standpoint. Um, So the questions here, why did people gather then? You know, why did the mystery? So for me, these also have the mystery of what humans gathered around long before our current systems existed. This is the time where I think it's really important for us to go back and understand where our root information comes from and what we're believing about what we've been told about our root information. And if we can find problems at the root, we're going to find problems all along the way. And we're literally healing those timelines by identifying where they were harmed at the root. So, why did people gather then? Why do people gather now? What are we actually seeking when we come together? Is it community? Is that community healing? Does it fit the connections we're actually in balance with? Is it helping us to make meaning in our life? Maybe what we're building today isn't as new as we think. Maybe humans have always gathered around stories, teachings, questions, and shared experiences And maybe we're looking to drop the algorithm more and start doing that again. That's what Pen Pals will be about. Right here in this community. And then Pen Pals. Exactly what that sounds like. The art of writing, right? What calls you into community? This one, you. What are you building with others? Look at all these little babies, all these crystals together, working together. They are a community, a huge community. What can we build if we focus on building it together? All right. I have a couple other pieces up here. I only bought two of these. And these are $222 if they survive the retreat. These are another things that I would say if they survive the retreat. I am going to offer these to the retreatants first because these are not things that I get very often or that I've even seen in this quality before. They are $925 silver. They are gem quality gems, and they are $222. And I'm going to go ahead and show them. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say prices. I'm going to let you know because they're not the cheapest thing on the block. But if you really want one of these are some of the nicest quality that I have seen. First of all, they are silver. This particular one, there are two green kyanites. I mean, look at the rainbows coming through that green kyanite. That is green kyanite. If you know what green kyanite looks like, this is very gemmy green kyanite. Okay. This is citrine, completely clear. And let me zoom out. You can see both of them there. And then that is an Ethiopian opal. Oh no, this one is moonstone. This one is a moonstone. It is incredible. I thought it was an opal. Look at that flash. It's actually rainbow flash. Wow. The other one is an opal. So that's that first one. Now the next one, well, let me talk about this one a minute. This is moonstone. Moonstone is the mother stone, right? It is a connection to the moon and the divine feminine. Green kyanite is one of the best heart cleansers there is. It doesn't hold any energy. It actually never needs to be cleared. That's kyanite. Now I still clear my kyanites, but they don't need to be cleared. They're very unique in that way. And then the citrine is the stone of the merchant. Okay. And then this one for all of my healers out there. Well, not for all of my healers, for one of my healers. This one is Prasiolite, which is the stone for healers to wear to keep themselves, or sorry, prenite, to keep themselves cleansed, clear. This is gem quality prenite. This is gem quality aquamarine, the birthstone for my Pisces folks. And then this one is a Ethiopian opal. Ah, I got to move my hand. Hold on, sorry. An Ethiopian opal. You can see the difference, how much flashier that is. That moonstone was incredible, but Ethiopian opal, incredible. Opals help with cleansing eyesight, and then also they are, to me, work with the rainbow light body, work with rainbow light. So, again, those are 222. And I just have those two available. Um, very high quality, unique, beautiful. All right. One last thing we need to go back to is the angelites. And these angelites are, I'm going to bring the box over and set it on my lap. I'll set it in the peridot. And we'll go through these as I introduce you to angelite. So there is one spot left for that retreat still. I'm not really doing much about that. It would be very short notice at this point, but if you're like, man, I wanted to go and something opened up for you, there you go. These are angelite clouds in a smaller, they're smaller than the other ones that I have. And I don't have a whole lot of the bigger ones left, but I also have a few of the bigger ones left. These are for people who are working on scrying, angelite scrying clouds. One of my favorite stones for gentle scrying work. So scrying is when you look into the item that you're working with. It could be water, could be obsidian, or it could be something like this, or a sphere. That didn't sound good. I hope they stopped in time. Oh boy. Um, when many people hear the word scrying, they think about seeing visions or predicting the future, but that is not why we work with these. These are a stone that my students will be working with when they get to the fifth level of the lightning program, which is the crystalline DNA activation at DNA level 5. And that has to do with opening up your ability to communicate with everything, not just with what you see. Okay. Angelite creates a soft and safe field for that kind of connection. It invites us into a state of listening rather than striving. Throughout human history, there have been countless names for unseen helpers, guides, angelics, ancestors, teachers, practitioners. Uh-oh. Hold on one second. I think it's protectors and intelligences. Humans have created many classifications and stories around these experiences. Whether we understand exactly who or what we are connecting with is often less important than our willingness to remain open to support. Meaning humans like to give words, I call it word salad, or meaning and need to describe what something is. And then they might even get into arguments of like, oh, it was an angel. No, it was an ascended master. No, it was a Taurus bull up in the sky. I can't even make that up. Or is that an owl? We don't need the language. We need the openness. The angelite cloud becomes a focal point for you, a place to soften your eyes, a place to soften your mind, a place to allow wisdom to emerge rather than chase it. I often speak about the better angels within our own oversoul braid. The aspects of ourselves that remain connected to compassion, wisdom, perspective, and love. These clouds help create a space where that connection can be felt. The questions associated with this stone are: Where am I being asked to surrender? What support am I refusing to receive? What if I do not need to understand everything in order to trust the next step? What wisdom is waiting beneath the noise? I invite you to spend a few moments simply gazing, not looking for answers, not trying to see anything, simply becoming available. Those are the angelites. And then I have one other item. This one was specifically connect, plah. Um, it's an eyeball shape. And when you look at it here, you can definitely see the eyeball, but look at, you can see the sky in it. I mean, this is another scrying tool, right? But this is a shaman. They're called lens shaman quartzes. And this one, again, in the shape of an eye, is calling the right person. Okay. There is one of those available. All right. Those are the new items that I selected with intention to bring here to the shop, to the healing space, to the teaching that we do here. If you find my crystal energy communication helpful to you, even if you haven't been in the shop, subscribe to the Substack. Another way to support would be to contact me and order something online. Um, my internet connection is unstable. Um, yeah, another way to support would be to support the books. Another way to support would be to join Pen Pals when it gets going here. So there are multiple different ways and times available right now to be able to do that. And so I appreciate that. If you're getting something out of the things that I'm writing, the things that I'm teaching, and you haven't been able to find a way to support, I'm inviting you in to do a few of those things. Okay. So I appreciate those of you who are. And yeah, uh, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into everything that I write and everything that I teach. So I appreciate those that are stepping in to support. Arkansas, we will be sharing excitement, intentions, crystal mining, the healing waters, community, and we'll be bringing back all of the experiences to share with you. I'm sure we'll be sharing with them along the way. There's some amazing astrology, and I know there are some things that we're going to be holding right there where all that crystal quartz is during that astrology that we're moving through. And then I know some other crystal energy healers that are coming in the week behind, which is as impactful. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that we have some people back to back that I know that are going to be in that very dense crystal quartz area, reprogramming the quartz of the area, the pen pals in the community. Um, More to come on that. I'm launching that on this retreat, and there'll be a lot more to come on that. But what does the community actually need? I want you to think about this. Those of you who are living in the physical community that we serve, which would to me be an hour radius probably from the Zimmerman area. We don't just serve the people who live here. I'm not talking about Zimmerman specifically. I'm talking about the people who need a place to go, that are feeling these things and moving through these things and are here to bridge from the old way to the new way and are wanting to build community. That's what we are working on doing. And we want to know, what does the community actually need? What is it that you want? You know, what is it that people miss about gathering in places? What do people need more of? What could we build together? What skills already exist within our community for doing that? And how do we support each other more effectively? I want to invite a discussion on that. I want people to start to think about, how do we build the age of Aquarius right here? We've already walked out of the age of Pisces. The time to build is now. So start to think about it. Take down some notes. Listen to what your higher self is saying. Listen to what you're called into, and whether or not you feel like you want to be part of the original. It's a number 24 for me. There's 24 original builders here in this community who are wanting to create a living economy. And when I say economy, I mean the economy of energy all around, that is self-sustainable and beautiful. Okay. My closing is this: return to the winter solstice. Who were you 6 months ago? Who are you today? What has surprised you? What have you learned? What are you carrying forward into the next 6 months? I want to thank all of you that take the time later to listen to this, for joining and listening and staying through to the end. I can't even tell you how important it is. I invite comments. I will promise you, if you comment, I will get back to you. I invite your reflections. I invite your energy. I invite in community. And I just want to remind you that just because we cannot see yet where we are going in the next 6 months, it doesn't mean that the path is not already unfolding beneath our feet. Peace and spiral blessings.